Okay, everyone, welcome back to this step-by-step guide on Microsoft Access. This video we're going to be looking at just actually creating your own table and adding a dummy data into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start this from scratch. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to your current student details tab and just right click it and close it. And then over on the left hand side you want to right click it and then you're going to want to delete it. Okay, it will prompt you to delete this object and you're just going to click yes. So now we've got nothing in this database at all. It's completely empty. So what you want to do is you want to go over to create and you want to click on database and this opens a completely blank new fresh start table for you to work on. You can work on this in its current view. However, I like to use the design view. And there's three ways that you can access design view. If you've got the field tab already selected at the top, you can either go ahead and click on this current button, or you can click on the drop down menu to design view, or you can go over to the bottom right hand corner, just like other Microsoft products have this setting as well, and you can click on the button just here, which also takes you to design view. Or the way I like to do it so that I have more control of the tables that I am taking into design view is right clicking the table itself and going into design view. As always, when you do this, it will be prompting you to save your table. So again, we're going to be calling this student details and then clicking OK. And then we're prompted to this screen here, or this interface. On this interface then we got a number of settings. So if we look at the ribbon at the top, obviously we can click the button to go back to datasheet view. However, we'll be doing that in a second once we've inputted some fields. Going on to talk about fields, this screen here lets you add fields, lets you add the data type of that chosen field and you can give them a description if you wish. And we'll go on to talk about these in a little while. At the top then, we can also insert rows, delete rows, modify lookups. We can then also look at the properties, which is obviously the property sheet down here. And then we can obviously create macros, delete the macros if needs be, and again look at the table relations between different tables in your chosen database. So let's go down then and start adding some field names. So we want to add this database or table for student details. Now we've already penciled in here a ID, which is the primary key already. Access has done that for us as an auto number. However, that's not very a meaningful name for this ID and for this table. So we're going to change that. So if you just click on that box and just backspace a few times so it's right at the beginning. And I reckon we should put this one as student number. And then if you click the tab, it will shortcut it straight over to the next column, which is also where you can select the data type. As this is a ID, we're going to keep it as auto number. And what that will do then, every single time you add a new record or a new set of information, it will give it a auto number for your students. A little bit like your student number here at the college. All of yours are different because they are uniquely identified to you as a student. You can then add a description if you wish, if you felt that is appropriate. But for this example, you can leave that one blank. Then if you press tab again, it will bring you back down to below student number where you can start inputting your file names. So what sort of information do you think that we need for this table? Well, as we're talking about student details here, we could probably want to add their first name and their second name. So if we just put their first name as the chosen field name, and then click tab again, pulls you over to the data type column. If we just have a look down here at the bottom, these are the field properties. We already know at the moment that the maximum characters that you can have in a chosen field is 255 characters. However, that is going to be quite a big database if we choose to have that many characters. So my recommendation for you would be to reduce that to potentially 28. Other formats and other options are available, but for this example, all we need to do is just change the field size at the top. Then if we click Tab again, we can then make our way back down to the below field first name, and we can then add second name, and then we can click Tab again. What I'm going to show you this time is we're going to look at the other data types available. So if you felt that as a second name you wanted it a longer text, then you can click the longer text data type. If you felt that it was more appropriate to add number or a larger number, then you can add those ones as well. We also have the ability to add date and time within our database, currency, and we already know about the auto number as well for our IDs. Yes and no, and the additional ones below it are more for the forms, but we'll get into that later on in this series of videos. So for this example, we're just going to keep it as short text, and we're going to make sure that we change the field size to a more appropriate field size. So I'm just going to put it down to 28 to keep this database nice and small. Then if we click on description, we don't need to add a description. We're just going to keep pressing Tab and then going down the list. So now we're going to want to put maybe the address of this current student. So I am going to shorten this. So we potentially might want to shorten this to ADDR_1. And then you'll see this in a lot of databases, shortening field names to make your database a lot smaller. If we press Tab again, we're going to be using the short text function, and I'm probably going to cut this down to about 50 characters to make it a little bit smaller than the 255 that we have available. Then again, click on description and then press Tab again, drops you back down, and then we're going to add address number 2, press Tab, and then you're going to want to do the same again. Change that to 50 or whatever number that you feel is appropriate. Click the description again, and we're just going to continue to add the additional field names. You can add any field names that you wish. You can copy me for my example if you would like to, or you can add your own. It's totally up to you. Apologies for that error, I didn't press the right key. Okay, and then we're going to add postcode here. Postcode, you tend to have probably a maximum of 8 characters, so just to be safe and sorry, I'm going to put 10 there. And then last but not least, we're going to want to put the date of birth for this student. You can either write date of birth as it is in words, or you can do the abbreviation, which is DOB, and you'll probably see that in a lot of databases as well. Over here, now we're more than happy for you to keep it as short text. However, there's appropriate data type which we use, which is date and time, which is there. You can go over to format and drop down this, and you potentially want to click on the short date. This just means that when you're inputting the date of birth, it gives it the short date instead of the longer dates that are available. That's all the chosen field names that we're going to use for this table. So with that in mind, we want to go back over to the Student Details tab, right click and then Save. And then you want to right click again on Student Details and take you back down to Datasheet View, or you can press the other additional buttons that I've shown you previously in this video if you do wish to. This view now takes you back to the original home screen that we saw. However, now you can see the additional field names available in this view. In the next video, we'll be adding some dummy data, so please stay tuned for that one.